Many, many years ago, in the court of Akbar the Great came a man.
Who are you and why are you carrying a balancing scale? My king, I am Mohan, and this is not just any ordinary balancing scale, but a magical balancing scale. What is so magical about this? My king, on one side of the balancing scale I've put x plus 10, and on the other I have 35. Now you can replace x with any one number from this bag full of numbers. But there is only one number which will balance the scale. Is there anyone in this court who can find that number?
Hearing this, Akbar was shocked, but he knew that only Birbal could find that number. So he asked Birbal to pick a number from the bag and replace x with it. Birbal came and replaced x with 25, and the scale was balanced, and everyone in the court was shocked. Hello students, and welcome to Notebook. Today, we are starting a new chapter called Linear Equations in One Variable. And we will discuss today what linear equations are and how to solve linear equations with variable on one side and constant on the other side. But before starting with the concepts of this chapter, let's revise a few basic terms, which you all studied in your 7th class. So let's start. Students, recall that a variable does not have a fixed value, that is, it can be varied, and is represented by small letters like a, x, y, p, q, etc. Whereas a constant has a fixed numerical value. For example, 2, minus 10, minus 3 by 4 are all constants. Also, students, any expression containing constants, variables, and the operations like addition, subtraction, etc. is called an algebraic expression. For example, 4x minus 10, 3pq, 5x squared. Now, when you equate algebraic expressions using equality symbol, then the statement is known as equation. Every equation has two sides, left-hand side and right-hand side, separated by the equals to sign. So students, now that we have revised some basic terms, let's understand what linear equations in one variable are. In linear equations, the word linear means that the highest power of the variable is 1. For example, x plus 10 equals 35, 3x plus y equals 5, etc. Now, a linear equation in one variable is an equation which contains only one variable and the highest power of the variable is 1. Standard form of a linear equation in one variable, say x is ax plus b equals 0, where a and b are real numbers and a is not equal to 0. So now it is clear what linear equations in one variable are. And now in this chapter, we will be asked to find the solution of the linear equations. But what does this mean? Students, to understand this, let's take help from Mohan's balancing scale. Recall that on one side of the scale, Mohan placed x plus 10 and on the other he placed 35. Now, solving linear equations is like balancing scales. That is, the value of x, which will make both the scales equal, will be the solution of the given equation. So in this case, when Birbal placed 25 in place of x, the numbers in both the scales became equal, that is 35 and 35. So, to summarize, the solution of a linear equation is that value of the variable which makes the left-hand side and the right-hand side equal. Wow, this was really interesting. But how do we find this value of the variable which makes LHS equal to RHS? To know this, first let us understand some rules regarding balancing the equation. Rule number 1. If you are adding any numbers on the left-hand side of the equation, then you need to add the same number to the right-hand side as well. For example, if I'm adding 3 to the LHS of equation x minus 3 equals 4, then I need to add 3 to the right-hand side as well. Rule number 2 says that if subtracting some number from LHS of an equation, then we need to subtract the same number from RHS as well, as shown in the example. Rule number 3 says the same things for multiplication. That is, if I multiply LHS of an equation x by 2 equals 6 by 2, then I will have to multiply the right-hand side by 2 as well to balance the equation. Rule number 4, if you want to divide the left-hand side of an equation by some number, then you have to divide the right-hand side by the same number. For example, if I divide LHS of the equation 4x equals 12 by 4, then I need to divide the right-hand side by 4 as well. So students, I hope all these rules are clear to you. Now let us try and solve some linear equations using these rules. In today's session, we will be focusing on linear equations which have expressions containing variable on one side and constant on the other side as shown. Now let's go back to the equation which Birbal solved, that is x plus 10 equals 35. Remember that our aim is to find the value of x which will balance the equation, and for this we try to eliminate everything from the LHS except the variable. Now I want to eliminate 10 from the LHS. For this we subtract 10 from both sides. So subtracting 10 from both sides we get x equals 25. The number which was used by Birbal to balance the scale, that is 25, is the solution of the given equation. So students, I think that's enough for today. In our next session, we will solve some more linear equations of this kind. Till then, stay healthy and keep learning. Goodbye from Team Notebook.